Kathy Griffin has just baselessly accused Kanye West of being physically and emotionally abusive to his new unofficial wife, Bianca Censori, based solely on what she's been wearing.
Yeah.
I think it is solely based on the way that they're dressing, which is outlandish and attention grabbing, nothing new for Kanye. And you know what's so ironic about this? Thank you.
I do love the idea that somehow a woman dressing outlandish and attention seeking is a guy's fault.
It's okay.
I know plenty of women who aren't under the thumb of any men who dress plenty outlandish.
Kanye is known for rebranding the women he's with and being like making them into his dress-up doll. He's into fashion, and yeah, he could be controlling. I'm sure it's not the most normal relationship on the planet, but what's so ironic about this is there was just a headline saying Bianca Censori completely brushed off her friends when they came to her with serious concerns about her being in a controlling and abusive relationship. She literally told them to F off and said they were jealous of her fame.
Look,
so she's in this relationship for fame, and she sees the trade-off as
why
worth
else
it.
would you put up with Kanye West? Who wants to hang out with Kanye West? He's a wackadoodle, okay?
Also,
like, there's no reason to be with
I'm
him
sure there
unless
are
it's to
plenty
get some
of people
clout.
who want to hang out with Kanye West.
Also,
but
like,
yeah,
are we just like, have we just reached a point where women just don't have agency anymore? Like, they're just not allowed to be adults and make their own decisions, even if they're bad? You're allowed to make bad decisions. I think there are a lot of people with an interest in fetishizing female suffering and fetishizing the idea of this domineering male figure who is controlling everything she does. Let's watch her video. Like, is it just the first?
We gotta watch the whole video because all of it is insane.
Okay, here we go, guys.
Her hair's looking good.
Oh man, I'm gonna get in trouble for this video. It's gonna be controversial, I'll tell you right now, and I'm probably gonna have like a lot of bros coming at me for it and everything, but it's just
We're
my
the bros.
opinion.
That's me. I am bro.
Okay, so we've all seen those photos of Kanye and his new wife, Bianca Censori, right? So I don't need to show you. And it's easy to make fun of Kanye. I mean, I make fun of him in my act because he's like
That's
crazy
racist.
and nutty and does all these things. But when I see those photos where she's in pantyhose and like not even a bandeau top, it's really all about being see-through and stuff. I think, number one, she has a banging body. Like, of course I would kill for that body, so this isn't about that. But she does have a body that is almost identical to Kim. And
it's almost like having a type.
I was gonna say he has a type.
Just sort of what I'm suggesting, this is just my belief, is this is gonna be bad. I actually think that he may be physically abusing her, and at the very least,
we have to stop. I'm sorry. We have to stop. You don't just get to throw that out there.
Right.
Like,
she did that.
That's insane.
And not expect a lawsuit to come your way. Like, that is crazy.
Ugh.
Also, I think maybe
100%
subconsciously Kathy Griffin saw Russell Brand stuff the day before, and maybe her brain was thinking in that like abuse, Me Too vibe, and she kind of conflated all these different stories together.
You can Me Too someone on someone's behalf now? That's how far we've taken this?
Yeah.
Me three. You're the third
me
person,
three.
yeah.
Go ahead.
psychologically abusing her. Now, let me tell you why. I've talked about my dead brother, Ken, on this app, who was a physically abusive man toward actually his wife and his girlfriend, who both told me. But
projection.
One time, his wife told me about a time that he had physically abused her when she was out of the shower. He locked her outside their apartment, and she was totally naked because he wanted to humiliate her in that way. So when I see this woman who has no voice, we have not heard a peep out of her. I've read that she has a master's degree in architecture from a university in Australia. She's gorgeous. She seems to have no voice whatsoever. She's not on social media. I don't know if he's not letting her talk, but I just think that her walking around with him, and he's covered up in practically a freaking burqa. I mean, he's covered up in scarves and clothes. But when they were in Italy, and he had her drop to her knees, what looks like in the photos, and give him a service, and we saw his bare butt, knowing there were paparazzi photographers all the way around and people with just phone cameras, That to me just reeks of abuse. Like, get on your knees and do this now on a freaking water taxi. So it might sound to guys like, oh, that's sexy in a fantasy. It doesn't look like a fantasy for her. And
what is she basing that on?
Nobody even knows what was going on in those photos. And people said that when they watched the video, it was clear nothing was happening.
We are getting closer and closer to just treating women like just large children, like who aren't responsible for their own actions. That's what it feels like they want. Like,
got in trouble in Italy, and she still, walks around with him in pantyhose and always high heels. And you guys,
oh my God, she's wearing high heels.
That's the straw that broke the camel's back. She's wearing high heels.
She must be.
She's too sexy. Stop it now.
Selling this stuff. So there were sort of similar photos with Kim back in the day, and then Kim would be wearing Skims, which
she still sells Skims.
And now she's a billionaire, and that worked. And this does not seem like that. And the photo where she has a pillow in front of her breasts, I don't know if she was like, can I just go out with a freaking pillow or what? But then they went to Germany and they went
Kathy's
to a
done her
show.
research. She has her whole schedule.
Like presenting her thesis.
She's got like a timeline.
Exactly.
Sounds silly now, like this like big bird headdress where it looked like she couldn't see and yet still like practically naked.
But here's the thing: if she sold these pictures on OnlyFans, it would be empowering. Mm-hmm. It would be extremely sexy and empowering because she'd be making money from it. But I guess if Kanye West is her husband and is, funding their lifestyle, that's not empowering because she's not doing it. She's not having the money directly deposited into her cash
account by simps.
by them and by a third party company that makes a profit.
Glowing and looks happy in this picture.
She looks very happy.
Pull it up. Yeah.
Yep.
And there's video of them walking down a stairwell going to this fashion show, and he's not holding her hand, he's not helping her. And so
P. Tran in the chat says she's a 28-year-old teenager.
I don't know her, I'm never going to meet her, but I just want to know what you guys think, because it just looks like something a really controlling, abusive dude would do. Okay.
What about a self-assured, sexually adventurous woman who's comfortable in her own body? Is that something sexually adventurous? Completely.
I don't agree with either of these takes. I do think that Bianca having a somewhat transactional relationship with a celebrity and using this public relationship to get fame and money is inherently degrading. But I also believe that it's entirely her choice as an adult woman to do that. Mm-hmm. And she will face the consequences either now or later on. And you said there is always the risk that she will later on, after this relationship is over, which it doesn't look to be like it will last very long, Bianca has the option in the post-Me Too era to retroactively reinterpret this relationship and be like, actually, Kanye was controlling me and silencing me and making me wear skimpy outfits and degrading me and blah, blah, blah. And everyone will believe her and applaud her for saying that because Kanye is a public enemy in pop culture right now.
That's my problem with all of these stories is like when you do this job and you're constantly looking up news, you see them right next to each other. You see some story about some 22-year-old woman who's behaving some way and it's empowering and it's great and it's fantastic. Right. And then right under that is the story about the 55-year-old woman who behaved that way when she was in her 20s, and now it was at the behest of evil corporations and men who were looking to take advantage of them and use them for their sexuality, and you just see the cycle repeat itself over and over again because we're past the age of taking responsibility for your own actions. I'm not speaking of crimes. I'm not speaking of somebody who forces you to do something by physical means. I'm saying that people made choices to enter transactional business relationships when they were young. And then when they're older, they have retroactively changed their mind about what that means because they feel differently now. And that's the problem here, is that there is always going to be that risk that when she's 40 years old and she no longer has the physical looks that she had at this time.
Not even. It could be like a year later. Yeah. It could be a year from now where Bianca, makes her big debut on the Me Too scene and talks about what was really going on.
Trying to decipher how Bianca feels for me would just be conjecture, but we can almost guarantee that Kim Kardashian is seeing all this and going, thank God I got off of this sinking ship. Don't you know Kim's at home with her kids like, thank God this isn't me, because he would have had her in these horrible outfits too.
But even her, the worst she ever did was before she met him. The sex tape was before she even met him. Like, all of them. It's like knock, knock, knock. Well, if it isn't the consequences of one's own actions, my goodness. We have to stop treating everybody like children just because they make bad decisions when they're younger. You have to treat everybody like adults and show them the respect of not letting them discount all their bad behavior on another person. It actually means that you are showing somebody more respect and treating them like an adult to hold them responsible for the choices they make. Otherwise, you're just treating them like children.
I would love to hear Julia Fox's response to this, because she famously, she's known for her stint as Kanye's girlfriend, muse, dress-up hag, whatever. And she described the relationship as entirely positive and said that when he, took all of her old clothes away and replaced them with everything that he thought was, acceptable to be seen with him in public, she described that as entirely positive and a creative partnership. Yeah. So where is she to dispel these lies? Yeah. And I don't know
There's no benefit for her to
what
do that
hubris now. and just the gall for Kathy Griffin to go forward and make allegations of this nature.
That was a whopper of a thing to accuse someone of.
With no disclaimer, I could be wrong, or with no thought that maybe she could get repercussions for lying about someone this way on a public platform.
I really will come back to what I said about Kathy Griffin. I think she saw all the headlines about Russell Brand and Danny Masterson and everything going on right now, and maybe while she was asleep, she put it all together into one, if that makes sense. So also, in this economy, attention is kind of the hottest commodity right now. So getting attention online, she's probably trying to increase her viewership. She's talking about Kanye West. She's talking about Me Too. She's talking about abuse, all these topics. So this is probably, if we go to Kathy Griffin's TikTok, is this not one of her most viewed videos from the past 20 videos? Let's look. Let's look at the numbers.
Probably.
I can pull that up and see where it sits on that. So if we go to her page, let's go to... So this is 821K. Yes, by far and away.
Highest viewed video.
So I stand by exactly what I said. So she's jumping in on a trend. This is her biggest video probably ever on the platform. So
this one's got 1.5 million with Dylan Mulvaney.
Yeah, so you're hanging out with Dylan Mulvaney and you're like, how can I get attention next?
50K, 40K, you know what I'm saying? 22K. So her on her own talking about this situation is definitely amplifying her on a platform where she's trying to reach younger people, aligning herself with Dylan Mulvaney. Right. There's no way Kathy Griffin really cares to hang out with Dylan Mulvaney, if we're being honest, but she knows Dylan Mulvaney has a lot of followers and a lot of viewers on this platform. So let me invite Dylan over for brunch and take some videos,
Yeah, and funnily enough, most of the comments here are agreeing with Kathy Griffin.
Oh, yeah,
said, I felt this. Bianca looks so unhappy and uncomfortable. You can just tell. He's controlling and abusive.
That is the insane projection that you see when people. It's the also, no, Mary. It's the Johnny Depp thing. It's Johnny Depp giving what's her name her phone cord.
So dude, people were nuts. Looking at Johnny Depp's friendship with his lawyer, Camille Vasquez.
Yeah.
He hands her a cord.
He hands her a phone charger, and they're like, he's such a gentleman, and they're in love, and they're gonna get married, and they're gonna have 10 babies.
People are insane.
People will just project onto what they see, whatever they want to see.
Well, that's what I've noticed, even being on TikTok, because TikTok's my biggest platform. I use TikTok every day. People can just make up their own narrative. They can watch a whole video you did, and they'll say, "Oh, you said this. I can't believe you believe this." So what you're saying
is,
what you're saying is, and it's like, no, did you actually watch anything that's actually never come out of my mouth at all? And then you say, can you show me where I said that? Well, it's just the vibe I got. So people just project. It's almost like when they project now, they're admitting guilt themselves in some way. Like anytime someone tries to blame you for something or ascribe something onto you, it's who they are deep down. Yeah. It's who they are inside.
Well, it's like when they say when you read a book, a lot of times what a book tells you more about the author than it does about the characters, right? Because you write what you know, or you write what's important to you.
Like 50 Shades of Grey.
There you go.
But
Speaking of Kanye,
people, it's true. Like if they idolize somebody on the internet, and you have your profile picture as Harry Styles, for instance, and your name is like Harry Styles 123 on Twitter, and you tweet something like, Harry Styles is kind of annoying, they'll come after you because they're like, you just attacked me.
Yeah.
This is my whole identity. I'm a fan of Harry Styles, and you just said that about me. You think I'm annoying.
I really do feel like trends like this, like what they're talking about with Bianca Censori, it does a disservice to like actual liberal values for women who are strong in their own beliefs, who maybe they are promiscuous, maybe they are sexually adventurous, maybe they do have traits that they want to promote, that they believe in, that they feel strongly about, that other people don't agree with. Fine, but it's their choice to make. And it used to be a thing, especially like in the early 2010s, and we're seeing a lot of this come out now with all of the women who are talking about how Hugh Hefner behaved. Like, those women were not treated like children at the time. They were treated like adults who were able to enter less than normal relationships, abnormal relationships that other people may not consider to be okay or wouldn't want to be a part of, but it was their choice to make. They weren't babied.
Right. It's also like, thank you, Captain Obvious. Hugh Hefner was a womanizer.
Yeah, shocking.
He lived in the Playboy mansion and owned Playboy, and he, but this isn't shocking.
But women should not be automatically assumed to be less than capable of making their own choices. We should not just look at a woman who's behaving in a way that's different than what you, Kathy Griffin, arbitrarily decide is okay, and say that that's because she's not being allowed to behave in the way she wants to, or that she's being controlled or manipulated. Sure. Wouldn't you actually wait for her to say something about it before you buy that?
Well, I think with Kathy Griffin also, it's like, I used to love Kathy Griffin, and I'm sure if I ran into her, I'd still like her now. I'm sure there are things that are nice about her, but she used to be politically incorrect. She was almost anti-woke in a way, Kathy Griffin, with her old stand-up. She was just saying everything, using words that we're not even allowed to use now. And so to see her rebrand in this light is really interesting. You almost have to wonder, is it a mind virus, or is she doing this because this is the trend and she's like, okay, well, this is what's working on TikTok. This is what we're doing. But does she really believe this, or is it virtue signaling?
I think with the youth, it's the mind virus. I think with the adults, it's worse. It's more calculating.
Right.
I think that it's a choice that they're making to rebrand and fit in. Because we hear all the time about people who say, like, look, I don't believe this stuff. I do it because it's what I have to do to get by. It started as I wasn't allowed to talk about my political beliefs because I wanted to keep my job in Hollywood. And it's escalated from there upwards into this. But it's being, portrayed downward to the kids who don't know any better. In that case, I actually do believe what we call the mind virus is just very, very well done indoctrination. Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.